And salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best movie-related show on the planet, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday. Congrats on making it through to the end of another week. May you have a fabulous weekend planned ahead of yourselves, preparing you for another week of glorious triumph and victory come next week. And we are, of course, joined today by a man who has a movie opening in theaters today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how are you doing today, sir?
John, how could I not be doing any better than today? I mean, not only do I have a movie in theaters, Tango Shalom in New York and LA, but Shang-Chi opens, so I get to go see it in IMAX. I get to go see it with you and Aaron. I get to go see it with a bunch of people many, many times. Very excited, John. Very excited. Oh, and by the way, if you live in LA or New York, please go see Tango Shalom and support independent cinema.
There you go. And I want you to name the theaters there a little bit later in the show. And also, ladies and gentlemen, because she wasn't able to make it in with us yesterday because she's got Hollywood actress things to do. That's what she keeps saying. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the stars of the upcoming King Richard with Will Smith, it's Aaron Cummings. Aaron, how you doing?
I'm good. Star is a little bit of a stretch, but I'm certainly starring in the trailer, which I will take that and run with it as long as I can. You know, one of my favorite things about being on this show, in addition to getting to see movies like Shang-Chi, oh my gosh, we're hammering. There's some construction going on in my house right now. Supposed to be not going on this hour, but that's okay. One of the things that I love about this show, besides being friends with you and Rob and getting to see movies like Tango Shalom and Shang-Chi, which we're going to go see on Monday, is meeting some of the people who are watching the show, such as my new friend Will, who works at Mendocino Farms on Ventura, and Travis Evans and his husband Johnny, who have a young child and so generously went and found my registry on Baby List and got a few little goodies for baby Degnan. They're fans of the show. And so for Will out in Mendocino Farms and Travis and Johnny, I just want to say thank you so much for watching the show and for interrupting me in mid-bite of my sandwich to say, I've been a big fan of John Campea since I was 10 years old. I was like, oh God, how old are you now? I won't tell him. But that's real. It's always really fun when people come up and they go, do you know someone named John Campea? I think they recognize Joey more than they recognize me.
You know, what's really fun is this happened to us at the theater this weekend, is when people come up and say, excuse me, and like, yeah, and like, are you John Campea of the John Campea Show? No, I'm a completely different John Campea. Totally different John Campea. But anyway, good to have you guys here. And it's good to have you guys here for the show here on Friday. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to take the first half of the show to take some predetermined topics. And then we're going to go into the second half of the show and take your live comments and questions. But before that, a little bit of housekeeping. Just want to remind you guys, if you can't get your daily fix of the John Campea Show on YouTube, maybe you're driving, you're at the gym, or you're at work, good news. There is an audio-only version called the John Campea Show podcast. It's the audio-only version of this show. Just go on your favorite podcasting app of choice and just search for the John Campea Show, and you should be able to find it, no problem. And thank you to everybody who has already signed up for it. All right. Before we get into our main topics today, we've got one off the top that we'd like to cover, and that is this. Obviously, yesterday was game day. Shang-Chi Day has arrived. Shang-Chi opened in theaters nationwide last night on their Thursday night preview night. And we're going to talk about the reviews and the reactions that are coming in from audiences about the film. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But one of the things that we've been discussing about Shang-Chi, besides the fact of how great I think the movie is the fact that I very much believe, unfortunately, that the film is going to struggle to find a lot of success at the box office. And we've talked why. You know, pandemic, no big name stars, no recognizable MCU characters, a mediocre at best advertising campaign. The fact that even Kevin Feige spent all of his time talking about Eternals instead of this one. We've talked about it all. I kind of pegged that this thing's going to make $45 million opening weekend, and we'll see how it does. But that being said, the Thursday night numbers have come in for Shang-Chi, and they're very promising. The reports are coming in that Shang-Chi has made $8.8 million in just its Thursday night previews. Now, to put that into context, let's jump over for a second into the Campea classroom, shall we? Okay.
Okay.
So Shang-Chi And I totally messed that up. Sorry about that. So we go over here and we're going to say Shang-Chi made, what was it? They said 8.8 million. Okay. Remember, we're talking about opening Thursday night. Okay. Opening Thursday night, it made 8.8 million. To put that into some context, Fast 9, which made 70 million on its opening weekend, made 7 million on its first Thursday. Okay? So Shang-Chi, which I'm guessing is going to make $45 million opening weekend, has made more, about 15% more, on its opening night than Fast 9 did. And Fast 9 went on to make $70 million in its opening weekend. Now, we need more context. Because if you just look at these numbers, you're going to think, well, then, John, that settles it. Shang-Chi is going to make 80, 85, maybe $90 million on opening weekend. Pump the brakes for a second. Pump the brakes for a second. It's important to know that MCU movies, movie fans, tend to rush to opening night more than most other fans. Basically speaking, that the opening Thursday night for an MCU movie is going to get more of the people who are interested in it going opening night than most other movies will. For example, let's look at Black Widow. Black Widow, which is an MCU movie, made, get this, I think it was like 13.5 million opening night. Right? Which is almost double. Not quite, but almost double of what Fast 9 made opening night. But Black Widow did not go on to make almost double on the opening weekend full, because that would be about $140 million. Instead, it made 80 million, which was great. Opening, not great for an MCU movie, but a great on opening night, opening weekend, right? What that tells us is that MCU fans will rush out to opening night more than other fans. So while it is very, very good, guys, very, very good that Shang-Chi made 8.8 million on opening night, where a film like Fast 9, an established franchise, all that kind of stuff, made 7, that does not mean that Shang-Chi is going to make 70 or $80 million in opening weekend. I hope it does. That would be fantastic. It deserves it. But I'm still sticking around the 45 to maybe $50 million range. Anyway, Rob, you see that Shang-Chi makes 8.8 million on its opening night, more than I thought it would, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I'm still pessimistic as to what its overall opening weekend will be. Does this adjust your expectations for its opening weekend numbers? How do you see it?
Well, I did prognosticate, I guess, that I was hoping it would make at least $50 million. I think maybe I'm going to adjust. I think this bodes very, very well for the movie. I really do think, John, they talk about sleeper hits or word of mouth hits. I know that seems strange when I'm talking about a Marvel movie, but I do think that the word of mouth on this film is going to carry it to a larger than expected box office number.
And of course, we're going to talk about that word of mouth a little bit later in the show.
Yeah. And I think that I think that's great. I mean, I think this is such a fine piece of work. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was like seeing a movie like Back to the Future. Not that it's anything like Back to the Future, but it's just as entertaining. And I found myself wildly entertained from the get on this movie. It was not what I expected when this movie opened. I mean, I think you and I were both kind of delighted when I saw it with you that second time you saw it. I was not expecting how it unfolded, and I just was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end. And I know, Aaron, from your video reaction, you kind of felt the same way that I did. It was something that was unexpected and delightful.
Aaron, you see these numbers, 8.8, more than I thought it would. You seeing this, where do you think Shang-Chi is going to fall on when the final opening weekend numbers come in?
Well, first, point of clarification, Counselor, the $70 million number, I'm assuming that's domestic.
Yes.
We don't have
whenever you talk about opening weekend, you're always talking about domestic, not worldwide. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that education. I'm thrilled. anyone who saw my reaction video knows exactly how excited I was about Shang-Chi. And there was a lot of surprise from people out there, which I admit I deserve. Yeah, I was a tough sell. I was not the person who was going to rush out and see this ready to fall in love automatically. I was basically just going from the word of mouth of, my trusted colleagues have shared with me. But I was blown away. And so I then have shared that with my friends and people out there who maybe weren't aware of the film or didn't have the same sort of initial expectation. And I agree completely with what Rob is saying, that the word of mouth of this film is what is going to carry it. I feel like the Fast fans are similar to the MCU fans. If you haven't already seen the previous Fast and the Furious movies, you're not going to have the the impetus to just run out and randomly see the 9th installment of it on opening weekend. You're already invested at that point. And once you've seen it, then you go, okay, great. You've seen the Fast movie. You're not going to go see it multiple times over the same weekend or in back-to-back weekends. But look at how many times you saw the movie. Look at how many times Rob's now going to be seeing the movie. I'm now going to be seeing it a second time when Tom and I, go see it on Monday with you guys. So I'm already looking forward to seeing this movie for a second time. As Rob was saying, it is back-to-back entertainment, fun, funny, action, emotion. It's got everything that everybody needs. And I think that because the reaction has been so strong in some of these early screenings, we're not only going to see a continued opening weekend, but I think that we're going to see that number even continue into subsequent weekends.
So listen, again, for me, I'm super happy. I'm super happy to see that it's getting better than I thought. I'm still going to peg it around the $45 to $50 million mark. I hope it comes. I mean, I'd love it to see it hit Fast 9 numbers. I'd love to see it get to 70, but I don't know. We'll have to see. The question is for you guys. What do you think about the opening night performance of Shang-Chi, exceeding that of Fast 9, but not quite as good as Black Widow, even though it's an infinitely better movie than Black Widow, in my personal opinion? What are your guys' thoughts on this? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's now move into our main topics today. And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really easy. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you guys come across a big topic, issue, or story that you feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's totally free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, let's get into main topic number 1. And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Kyle, who writes, "Hey, Campea crew. So I just saw Gavin O'Connor say a sequel to the Ben Affleck, John Bernthal movie, The Accountant, is happening. John, I know you've said for ages now that you would be stoked for a sequel. Well, here it is. What are your thoughts?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Kyle. And listen, The Accountant is one of those films that comes, it's like Suicide Squad. The Accountant is one of those films that comes out, is completely awesome, and nobody went to go see it. Nobody went to go see it. It did not do well at the box office. But there was talk for years about the possibility of them getting Ben Affleck back, John Bernthal back, getting the crew back, coming together and making another one, because they felt like, yeah, we didn't market it right, whatever, and the audiences seem to really like it. We think a second one. But then years passed and more years passed. And every year that has passed, it seemed less and less likely that it would happen, despite the fact that you've heard others in the studio system say, oh, no, we still want to make one. We still want to make one. It's like, yeah, I'll believe when I see it. Well, that may now be happening, as the director, Gavin O'Connor, said the following in a recent interview. "We are doing an Accountant sequel. We literally just closed that deal. We're doing The Accountant again. I've always wanted to do 3 because, the second one's going to be more we're going to go to integrate his brother more into the story. So there'll be some more screen time for John Bernthal in the second one." So this is not coming from Gus's movie reviews.fart. This is coming from the actual director himself saying, not only do we plan on doing it, we've closed the deal. We've closed the deal. It's done. It's happening. All I can say is I am thrilled. I am thrilled. That, to me, that first movie was fantastic because not only was it great action, right? It had some fantastic action, yes, but the characters were wonderful. I love the story of the two brothers, the very nature of Ben Affleck's character in it. What was it? They called it high functioning autism. I believe that's what they said he had in it. And just the way he portrayed that character, and then the way it came to its climax at the end, and an extremely satisfying ending. I'll tell you what, guys, this is a film. This is one of the poster child films of movies that deserved much better at the box office. I am totally shocked it's getting a sequel, yet totally, totally thrilled. Aaron, you hear about this thing now getting a sequel. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's fantastic. 2016 was kind of there was a lot going on that year, so I unfortunately did not get around to seeing it. And I was doing some reading about it earlier today. You know, you're right. There were audiences loved it. It's had such an incredible fan reaction. Rotten Tomatoes, not so much. Critics, not so much. But also what we're seeing is, you know, John Bernthal is getting a lot more attention right now. He's got a lot of movies coming out, King Richard being one of them. Just going to do a little plug there. You know, and so I think part of, you know, we always say, oh, well, if a movie makes a lot of money, they're going to go ahead and do a sequel. But there's also a little thing going on in Hollywood that happens quite a bit where when people just get a bug in their ass and they go, you know what, we really want to do this and we like the people, then and who knows what Ben Affleck and John Bernthal are doing it for. You know, a lot of times when you have these big name stars, it's prohibitive to do a sequel because they're demanding $20 million a movie. But I mean, until the numbers come out of what, you know, what Ben Affleck was paid for this, I don't want to speculate too much, but I would say that if this was a passion project for him and for Gavin, then they may be foregoing their massive salaries in order to make the numbers work. At the end of the day, if the numbers work, the sequel will be made. One of the things that I also think is valuable about the retelling of the story or the continuation of this story now is that in the interest of diversity that we're really seeing right now. I like the idea of exploring more of a character who is not a neurotypical character, who does have a disability, yet they're still able to be portrayed in a way that is interesting and positive. You know, James Wheeler, who wrote to us last week, he's one of our viewers who wrote in and said that, you know, he has autism and has enjoyed this show. I was messaging back and forth with him actually this morning and saying, you know, do you feel like this is did you like the movie? Did you see it? Did you feel like it was an appropriate portrayal of someone with autism? And he said, yes, I love the movie. So I'm happy that yet another segment of our incredibly diverse society is going to be able to go to the screen and watch, you know, just more representation of the world that we live in.
Rob, you know, I know you saw the original Accountant. What are your thoughts on this? Was this a film that deserves to get a sequel? Are you surprised it's happening? What do you think its prospects are? What are your thoughts?
Well, John, you and I both have a great big love for this movie, and I have the 4K Blu-ray.
Of course you do.
I was really taken aback by this because, you know, I've always said that never put your universe or your agenda before your stories or your characters. And I think what makes a great character is the traits that character has. And if they are well portrayed on screen, and like I have to echo Aaron's sentiments, you know, normally autism, it's not just Dustin Hoffman and Rain Man. I really thought that the way Ben Affleck portrayed this character was unbelievably fascinating. And the movie to me was so engaging, and it works on so many levels. It works as a character study. It works as an action film. You know, it works sort of somewhat as a romance in a way. And it's exactly why I love movies. And it was surprising to me because I think that maybe we were kind of in the midst of a little bit of a Ben Affleck backlash when it came out. But I really appreciate, I think Ben Affleck is one of the most underappreciated people working in Hollywood today because he is a first-rate director. I mean, people forget Argo won Best Picture, and he's a terrific actor and a terrific writer. And I think that, he won an Academy Award for writing Good Will Hunting. And I love this film, and I love that he went all in on the portrayal of this character. And I can't wait to see more of this story, more of this character. And I'm stoked, dude.
And now we're going to see more of his writing chops. Of course, him and Matt Damon got together again and wrote the screenplay for the new Ridley Scott film,
The Last Duel.
The Last Duel, which my wife is losing her mind over. She cannot.
It looks so good.
It looks so good. By the way, if anybody wants to see how good of an actor Ben Affleck can be, there's this little film that almost nobody has seen that he did with Samuel L. Jackson called Changing Lanes. And I think it's one of the best performances he's ever. If you want to see what he's capable, I always tell people, if you want to see how good Ryan Reynolds is as an actor, go and watch Buried. If you want to see how good of a actor that Ben Affleck can be, you got to go and see Changing Lanes. Oh, and by the way, our friend Mark Niedow sends in a super chat badge in the live chat. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that, man. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Maybe you were a fan of the original Accountant. Maybe you weren't. I'm super stoked to see that they're making another one. Are you surprised about it? Whatever you guys think, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by John Superwise, who writes, "Hey, John, the Marvel UK Twitter account randomly tweeted a happy birthday post to Keanu Reeves yesterday, then soon deleted the post. Pretty interesting since Keanu isn't in the MCU as we know of yet. So, do you think this post could mean something? Could Keanu finally be joining the MCU?" All right, thanks a lot for sending this in, man. Now, listen. No one has ever accused the movie fan community of being conservative, patient, and cautious. No one's ever accused our fan community of being that. And by the way, our friend Black Wolf Inc. sends in a super chat badge in the live chat. Thank you, Black Wolf. No one's ever accused us of that. We are a collection of individuals that the slightest thing will send off a flurry like the shattering of the multiverse into anything. Somebody's watching a Batman movie. Wait a minute. In that one scene, Bruce is wearing a blue shirt. Blue Beetle is blue. Blue Beetle confirmed. Blue Beetle's going to be in the next. That's what we do. That is what we as fans do, unfortunately. I do it, you do it, don't pretend like you don't. We all do it. Now, that being said, this is one of those crazy fan things that I'm going to go out on a limb and say isn't actually all that crazy. So, as the person who wrote in the question remarked, a Marvel Twitter account, official Marvel Twitter, put out a happy birthday message to Keanu Reeves. As to the I did some quick looking. I don't see them ever running out happy birthday messages to any other actors that aren't part of the MCU.
So, I got a happy birthday message
from Marvel.
Yeah, they tweeted it.
You lie.
I lie. Of course I die.
Jeez, don't get me going like that. Anyway.
Sorry.
Dude,
Yes, please continue.
Bob Iger wishes me a happy birthday.
Every day.
Like every year.
No, every day.
Year.
He's just in case he's got the wrong date. He says happy birthday to Rob every day, just in case.
But you know what he doesn't? I've tried to get him to go into Kevin Feige's office and steal the Kevin Feige hot toy, but he won't.
Not going to do it. But honestly, so this thing comes out, this tweet comes out, and I'm going to say, understandably, a lot of the Marvel fans started swirling in theories about, does this mean, because listen, we've all known for a while, guys, that there have been a lot of rumors and speculation and whispers going around that Keanu Reeves was going to be joining the MCU soon. Kevin Feige has publicly said that he'd love to have Keanu Reeves in the MCU. Keanu Reeves has publicly said he'd love to be in the MCU. For something like this. So look, I don't want to become one of these conspiracy theorists and say, oh, it's now confirmed. It is not. Okay, let's just be clear. It is not. But I don't think if you're somebody who saw that and you think you might smell a little bit of smoke, I don't think you're crazy. I don't think it's crazy to think that maybe this might mean something. Confirmed? No. Absolutely no. But could it mean? I'm just saying, I won't say you're nuts. Rob, do you think there could be anything to this, or is this just another fans thing of spiraling out of control? What do you think?
John, I don't know why it hasn't dropped yet, but Keanu Reeves is playing Mephisto in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and that's after his turn as one of the Spider-Men in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Very, very good. But honestly,
no,
like,
but
what do you think's going
honestly,
on
look, man, look, I think that there is something to this. I think the Keanu-sance continues unabated, and who doesn't like Keanu Reeves? I mean, he's apparently got Matrix 4 or Matrix Resurrections and John Wick 4 opening on the same day. I mean, I think it'd be an epic win to see Keanu in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Maybe, hey, what if you know what? I'm just gonna spill it. Keanu Reeves is the new Iron Man. Let's face it.
Aaron,
I'd love to see him in the MCU. Wouldn't it be great?
Well, of course it would be good. Another good Canadian kid joining the MCU. Why not? By the way, just attached to that with the happy birthday message, Keanu Reeves is 57 years old, which is just
looking damn good.
At
Clean
some
living.
point, he drank the blood of a baby unicorn. And he's now 57 years old. Aaron, listen.
He's a brony.
It does look like a crazy fan theory, but is it really all? Could that random tweet that Marvel then pulled down, could there be more meaning to it, or are we reading far too much into this?
I don't think it's crazy at all. I mean, the idea that Keanu Reeves wouldn't be in the MCU at some point within the next 5 years easily, I think that's crazier than, speculating that he will be. I think we all can just assume that Marvel has been courting him for years. And while I think that Keanu Reeves could play many things, I do not see him as Iron Man, only because he would not have the sort of bravado and crassness, because in my mind, Keanu Reeves is like Enya. His feet don't even touch the floor when he walks. He just sort of like floats like a ninja ghost. And so I think for him and for MCU, when Keanu Reeves does officially join, it's going to be in a capacity where everyone just goes, oh my God, yes, this is so perfect. And it's just going to be so right. And so I feel like those conversations are probably happening on a regular basis between his people and the MCU people. And, we also have to remember that the world of pre-production, and this is pre-production before any contracts are signed or anything like that. We have no idea conversations are being held between MCU people, Kevin Feige, and any actors that are all like, trying to figure out which roles. By the time the general public finds out that an actor has been confirmed in a role, those conversations have been happening for often, especially when it's someone of that level of their career, those conversations have been happening for months, if not years. So who knows? I mean, to the person who has the MCU Twitter account in the UK, they might have been like, oh yeah, Keanu's people were just in here last week. And for them, it's already kind of like in their mind, oh, he's part of our family. And then tweet something, and then someone goes, dude, the rest of the world doesn't know that we've been talking to him every day. And again, all of this is my own speculation, but knowing that these conversations happen months and sometimes years in advance of an actor actually, coming out and saying, hey, I'm doing this movie. I think that there's already a strong relationship there, my guess. And I'm really excited to find out who Keanu Reeves is going to be playing. Probably someone I've never heard of, but you guys know very well.
Maybe. Question is for you guys. Look, obviously this could be just one of those rabid fan things where, okay, they just did something nice saying happy birthday to Keanu Reeves. But I don't know. I think there might be something to it. I don't know. Question is for you guys. What do you think about that? Do you think it means something? Do you think it means nothing? Whatever it is you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And by the way, Yuri, our friends Yuri Maninen sends in a super chat badge. Initial D sends in a super chat badge in live chat. Cody John Walker sends in like a $20 super chat badge in live chat. Thank you, Cody John. Appreciate that very much, dude. Our friend, Delusional Patriots fan, that's all of us right now, sends in a super chat badge as well. Thank you guys for sending that in and supporting our show, dudes. All right. With that down, guys, let's now move on to main topic number 3. And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Edward Waugh. I know it says Roy, but the Canadian in me, if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, Patrick Waugh, I'm going to pronounce it Waugh. Edward Waugh writes,
What?
I'm going to assume that you saw the recent remarks from director Patty Jenkins about streaming movies. Oh, I absolutely saw it. I'm sorry, she said. They look like fake movies to me. I don't hear about them. I don't read about them. It's not working as a model for establishing legendary greatness, are her direct words. To me, she's saying that streaming kills movies, not that the movies themselves are bad. What are your thoughts on her comments? All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And of course, Patty Jenkins, tremendous director. She directed Charlize Theron to her Oscar Academy Award win. That was her directing her that got Charlize her Oscar. She, of course, smash hit with the first Wonder Woman. Not so great with Wonder Woman 84. Let's be honest. It didn't do a great job on Wonder Woman 84, but her track record is really solid. And, we've been hearing a lot of great directors from James Gunn, Denis Villeneuve, Christopher Nolan, on and on, talking about the pitfalls and if you talk to Denis and to Christopher Nolan, the evils of streaming. So Patty Jenkins was directly asked about this, and she said the following comment, a comment that I think a lot of people are taking out of context and not interpreting properly. But basically, this is what she said. Again, this is what was written in the email, but this is her direct quote again. Are you seeing it? All of the films that streaming services are putting out, I'm sorry, they look like fake movies to me. I don't hear about them. I don't read about them. It's not working as a model for establishing legendary greatness. It's not working as a model for establishing legendary greatness. And I'm going to tell you right now, she is 1,000% right. But like the person, like Mr. Waugh, who wrote in the question, I agree. People seem to be misinterpreting what she's saying. It seems to me like people are interpreting what Patty Jenkins is saying as saying anybody that makes a movie for streaming, the movie is shit. That's not what she's saying. What she's saying is that the model of putting things out on streaming is undermining and ruining them and not giving anything any sort of a foundation. And I think she's absolutely right about that, because here's a great example. When a movie comes out theatrically, Rob, you've talked about this before. You said it comes with a sort of gravitas that it has for being a theatrical film. It gets into the cultural conversation. It stays in the cultural conversation. People still talk about Moon Knight. People were writing actually just the other day on the show, writing and asking about Moonlight and talking about La La Land and talking about, somebody wrote in the other day talking about Backdraft and talking about all these movies, right? You know what nobody's talked about at all? I don't think I've had a single person write in ever since the day it opened, maybe a few days after it opened, about this. It's a movie that I believe got nominated for Best Picture, I think. Mank. Mank is one of those rare, great streaming movies. Like, it's one of the 1%. It's one of the 1% of movies that go straight to streaming that are actually any good. But a few days after it comes out, nobody's talking about it anymore. It's gone. It's just poof. It's disappeared. Hell, even Zack Snyder's Justice League cut, right? The one they did for HBO. People talked about it for years. A week after it came out, it was gone. It's just not in the conversation anymore. Except it comes up in the conversation for all the wrong reasons sometimes. But a week, and it was gone. Movies that play in theaters become cultural events. Movies that go straight to streaming become momentary commodities that come and go within a matter of a few days, and it's gone. And when Patty Jenkins says, when she makes a comment, says it's not working as a model for establishing legendary greatness, she is 1,000% correct. She is 1,000% correct. You don't hear about them. You don't read about them. They come and they instantly go. They come with some fanfare on the days they launch, and then within a week, they're never spoken of again, and they just disappear. Now, a lot of that has to do with 99% of these movies are complete, utter shit. But even the really good ones, films like Old Guard, which never gets mentioned except for the fact that I keep bringing it up, films like Old Guard, films like Mank, films like the Chicago 7, which is amazing, and nobody talks about it anymore. If it was theatrical, people would still be talking about it. I think if the Zack Snyder Justice League cut was theatrical, I think it would still be part of the conversation. But it's not. They just come and they go. And I think people misunderstood what Patty Jenkins was trying to say, when in actuality, inconvenient truth time, folks, what she said is absolutely 100% correct. She's absolutely right, at least in my opinion. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see Patty Jenkins, who had one of her movies dumped on streaming, by the way, with Wonder Woman 84. Not that it was a great movie. But Rob, you heard Patty Jenkins' comments. How do you interpret what she was saying, and what amount, if any, validity do you give to it?
You know, I have to say, we've talked a lot about Netflix streaming movies on this show. You were talking about them 2 days ago, about the two movies that you'd watched. And I watched the trailer for Red Notice this morning with Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds, and Dwayne Johnson. And when I was watching the movie, I mean, it's handsomely made. The acting, it looked funny. But I'm watching this and I was thinking, I should love this, but I don't.
I didn't either.
I don't love this. And I thought it was really pedestrian. It looked like it was 10 other movies mashed into one. And I think about, you know what it reminded me of? Maybe because they're stealing high-end art. I think about John McTiernan's the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair. I love that movie. It was breezy fun. It looked great. I saw it in the theater and I'm like, it was just a great time at the movies. Kind of was supposed to have that vibe. It looks to me like this movie was trying to emulate a real movie. And I read, Patty Jenkins' comments, and I'm like, that's kind of how I feel about a lot of these streaming films. Like, look, dude, I liked The Old Guard, but it felt like it was a pastiche of a bunch of other movies, beginning with Highlander. It's not that it was bad. It just felt unoriginal. And it was competently made. It was well directed. It was shot at beautiful locations, but there was nothing new about it. And I think what I'm waiting for is I want to see, streaming unfettered from box office constraints. They don't have to appeal to the masses. And yet they feel like they're all designed by committee. And that's what they're doing. I'm waiting. I want to see, like, Mank was at least unique, and it was David Fincher, and it was, whether you liked it or not, it felt original to me. But none of I get excited for these Netflix movies, then I watch them and I'm like, man. And I think I understand what she's trying to say.
I think when I can watch a Netflix original movie and say, that's actually a good day. Normally I'm smashing my face in the fridge saying, why did I just waste 2 hours of my life? Anyway, but that's just me. And that is separate from what Patty Jenkins' point is. Aaron, again, I personally did not interpret, when I read Patty Jenkins' statement, I did not interpret it as her trashing on other filmmakers. I personally interpret it as her trashing on a system that's taking the work of filmmakers and doing something like that, and the fact that it makes these movies disappear and gives them no relevance. That's at least my interpretation of what she was saying. So, Aaron, how did you interpret her words? And same questions I gave to Rob, what, if any, validity do you give to what she was saying?
Well, first of all, I am clutching my pearls because I am shocked. I am shocked and aghast that a woman expresses her opinion out loud and people take it and misinterpret it into something else that she didn't even mean. That has never happened in the history of women speaking out, ever.
Now,
so
Aaron,
first of all, I cannot believe this has happened to our dear Patty.
I think you're just having a woman moment. I think you're getting over emotional. Take a deep breath.
I should probably.
A woman moment.
I mean,
There's a clip from the show that's going to be played a lot.
Erin's having
I would
a
only
woman
say that
moment.
to Erin. Let's be clear about it. And only when she's not in the same room with me.
She's probably having her, it's probably her cycle. I'm having a woman. Oh, Rob, you haven't. It was much worse than things he was saying to me last week. Trust me.
Let's all move to Texas.
Right? Wow. So, no. Okay. I also agree with you, John. I see what she was saying, which is absolutely that. It's a system that is set up to fail. If it's one thing if a movie is created with the intention of it being in the theaters and because of the situation that we're in with the pandemic, and we go, okay, well, I guess we have to release this in theaters and on streaming. That's a different thing. I remember when I saw Parasite. Parasite was a brilliant movie, won Best Picture, but it was not a movie that was made for streaming. These movies that are made specifically for streaming, I don't know if it's because the generation, and I include myself in this, the generation that grew up on movies of the week and TV movies, there was always kind of a subpar connotation, because we're subpar. But even if they weren't, the idea of them was like Babes in Toyland was such a movie that really hit home for me in a lot of ways. It really makes me feel nostalgic, but it was a movie of the week. And I wonder if it might have a different resonance long-term and a different place in movie history if it had been a traditional Christmas movie that came out in theaters. I don't know. But so I feel like the movies made specifically for streaming have a connotation of a movie of the week. Additionally, we've talked a lot about when it comes to streaming series, the ones that are released week by week versus the ones where you just can binge the entire season in one go. The ones that are coming out episode by episode, like I believe Stranger Things does, we talk about it week after week after week. Whereas if it that's what happens when a movie is in theaters. A lot of times people are going on the weekends to see movies. So we look at those weekend box numbers, weekend after weekend, it retained those numbers. Those are those things that people, on our side of things are looking at. But we're not doing that with the numbers of streaming. So I feel like there does come this sort of dump. We dump it all out on the viewers. We go, okay, great. Seen that, check it off the box and go. And one of the things that stood out for me last week at CinemaCon was, in listening to the presentations by the different studios that came up over and over and over again, was how films need to be seen in the theater, not just because they're on a big screen, but also because of the complete immersive experience that you get. And unless you have the discipline sitting at home to turn off all of your other devices, to hold your bladder, I'm talking about myself here because you all know that I have a bladder the size of a pea, to not let anyone else in your home speak or make noise, get up, get food, do anything, let the dog out. It's so distracting to watch a movie at home versus the immersive experience that's in a theater. I think it's almost impossible for any movie to really live up to the theatrical experience. And so, yes, I fully believe that Patty Jenkins was saying, and I don't think it's a matter of interpretation. Anyone who wants to interpret that she was shitting on movies, you're just creating your own narrative. That's not what she said. She specifically was talking about the streaming platform and the way that it has, negatively affected a business that, let's face it, she's very much ingrained in. So why wouldn't, it only benefits her to continue to speak positively about the theatrical experience. She's a theatrical director. So I agree with her, and I don't think there's any room for misinterpretation of what she said.
And it's kind of funny, too, because a lot of people are trying to dodge what she's saying. Because I saw this when I put this out on Twitter last night. Everybody wanted to jump saying, well, she made Wonder Woman 84, which wasn't any good. And I love everybody's trying to change the topic of conversation. That's irrelevant.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it.
It's irrelevant to the conversation, which she also made movies that won Oscars. So, there's that. But I just, again, it's an inconvenient truth, but it's true. What she's saying is absolutely true. And it harks back to the other thing too. We were talking about this. The studies were done. Movies that premiere exclusively in theaters first and then later go on to various forms of home video do better on home video than if they went straight to home video. Follow that again. Movies that play theatrically first in a theatrical exclusive window and then later go to streaming and Blu-ray and DVD and PVOD, they actually perform better on those home video markets than movies that bypass the movie theaters to go straight to home video. It's actually better for home video if they are theatrical films. And I think that's part of what Patty Jenkins is getting at. At any rate, guys, question is for you. What did you think of Patty Jenkins' comments? How did you interpret them at first? And if you interpreted them correctly, do you think what she's saying has validity? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Whatever it is you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into main topic number 4. And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by let me make sure to try to say this right. Ananya Suresh. And Ananya Suresh writes, John, my boyfriend and I just got back from seeing Shang-Chi, and oh my God, it was exciting and so romantic and so funny. It's instantly my favorite comic book movie that I've ever seen. Anyway, we jumped on Rotten Tomatoes and saw that it has a 99% audience score. I can't remember ever seeing a score that high. Anyway, what do you think? Does this make you rethink your box office prediction? All right. So we come back. We started off today with Shang-Chi. We're kind of coming back around to Shang-Chi here. We were talking a little bit earlier in the show, for those of you joining us a little bit late, that Shang-Chi had a very good opening night on Thursday, actually exceeding the opening night that Fast 9 had. Fast 9 made $7 million on its opening night, on its way to a $70 million opening weekend. Shang-Chi made $8.8 million opening night, which exceeds that of Fast and the Furious. I still don't think it's going to make as much as Fast and Furious over the entire weekend, because I believe MCU audiences go more on first night than other audiences do, but we'll find out and we'll wait and see. That being said, last night, Ann and I went to the movie theater to go see Shang-Chi again. And the audience was fantastic.
That makes how many times? How many times have you seen Shang-Chi now, John?
Last night, the 2 screenings last night represented screenings 4 and 5. So Monday will be 6. Monday will be 6.
Gosh.
So
okay.
Just for those who don't know, the reason we're talking about Monday is because Ann and I have booked a private AMC theater for a private screening of Shang-Chi that we're just inviting some friends to. So that's going to be screening number 6. Anyway, so we saw it in an IMAX last night. And once the lights came up, the place went crazy. Like once the credits started to roll, the place went crazy. And then the first post-credit scene happened and everybody went crazy again. And then the second post-credit scene happened and the half of the audience that was still left, because, you know, half the people still leave after the first post-credit scene, went nuts again. And it was great. Now, I have said for a while, I think Shang-Chi is the best comic book movie since Logan. It's not as good as Logan. It's not as good as The Dark Knight. It's not as good as the first Avengers, but it is, I think, the best comic book movie since Logan, in my opinion. But I've also said, I'm not saying all of you guys will like it as much as me, just because I like it that much. But what I have also said is that I feel very confident that you will like it. Maybe not as much as me, maybe more than me, but at the very least believe you guys, when you see it, will like it. And the audiences have now seen it. And Shang-Chi right now, not only does it hold its 92% critic rating, it is holding, with over 1,000 submitted verified audience members, a 99%. Now remember, this is not some bullshit IMDb fan credit thing. You can't submit a rating on this unless you can verify you saw the movie, because Rotten Tomatoes is connected in with Fandango, and only people who had bought their tickets and actually bought tickets to the movie can actually submit. So no review bombing going on here, which is, I'm sure, to the chagrin of a lot of people who want to review bomb this. It's like, wait, you got to actually prove that you saw the movie? Damn it. You know, and it is sitting at 99%. And this is an incredible number. And now listen, it's not rare, guys, to see a comic book movie, like a fan favorite kind of movie, get very high audience scores. That's not terribly unusual. 99% when there's over 1,000, that says something. And it speaks to what I was saying before. I don't believe everybody's going to love it as much as me, but I believe you're going to like it. And what this is basically telling us is practically everybody who watches this movie enjoys it. Maybe not as much as me, maybe more than me, but at the very bare minimum, people who watch this movie enjoy this movie. And that is something you can go, I've seen this movie now 5 times, and my heart just fills up every time I watch it. I just have such a great time watching this movie. I am so thrilled for it. Now, this goes back to what you guys, both of you, were saying earlier when we were talking about box office predictions for the weekend. Does this kind of word of mouth, is this kind of word of mouth going to carry a Shang-Chi to a bigger than expected opening weekend box office? Maybe it will. I'm still pegging it at 45 to 50 million, but I mean, we'll see. Anyway, Aaron, you saw the movie with me. You were in Vegas and watched it with me over a week ago. Are you surprised to see this high of an audience rating? Is this right where you thought it would be? And how do you think this kind of audience rating and word of mouth is going to feed the film moving forward?
I'm not surprised. I think it's going to do better than F9. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people in what it does, not only for this weekend's box office, but overall. And then, of course, globally, it's going to do extremely well. And the big reason is exactly what you just said, is that, you know, there will be people like you, like me, like Rob, who absolutely love it. But even if you don't love it, you're really going to like it because it has everything that anyone who enjoys movies likes. And so it's not just, oh, it's a really good MCU, or it's a really good, you know, comic book movie. It's a really good MCU movie. It's a really good movie. And if you love storytelling, you're going to love it. And so I don't want to say it's the perfect movie because obviously that's a much larger conversation, but it's just one of those movies where you have to be a certain kind of person to be like, I didn't like it. Like, I'd really be curious if somebody said, I don't like Shang-Chi. I'd really be curious and fascinated to find out what nuggets they can pull out of their ass to complain about, because this movie's pretty darn special. And there's not a lot of those that come along very often, where even in the moment, and I won't give anything away, but even in the moment where the thing that needs to happen is happening, you're still like, I don't want this to happen. It's just beautiful. So beautiful. And I'm really excited for everyone, not just MCU fans or comic book fans. I'm excited for everyone to see it. And that's what's also going to continue to propel it, is when people who are outside of the bubble of MCU and comic book fans see it because their boyfriend or girlfriend or friend or neighbor drags them to see it, or they hear about it, and then they go, holy shit, this isn't even my kind of movie, but man, I really liked it.
Now, I fully expect there are going to be people who legitimately watch the movie and don't like it. I mean, that's just the nature of the subjectivity of film. I have no doubt. But you're right, Aaron. This just that this movie carries so many different elements to it to appeal to so many people that's why I believe that even though film is subjective and they're going to get people who don't like it legitimately, I think the vast majority are, and the numbers are showing that. Rob, you're now seeing this audience rating for this film. Were you expecting to see it this high? I remember you saw it with me a number of weeks ago as well. Were you expecting to see the numbers these high? And do you think these numbers will play a part in the financial success or lack of success of Shang-Chi moving forward? What do you think?
Well, I think that people who are going to go see this movie, I use myself as an example. I was tremendously delighted and swept away by the movie because it was not what I expected. And I think, Marvel movies are kind of their own genre. And I always find it interesting when people they don't see that when they in their reviews, and I've really enjoyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've liked some movies more than others, of course, but overall, the entertainment value of now the 25 MCU movies that have come out are pretty off the charts. And in terms of consistency, I'm delighted. And I think most people who are, look, there's a lot of people who have their blades sharpened to go after this movie just because. And I know we're in the midst of a bit of a Marvel backlash in some quarters, but it doesn't surprise me that the audience love this movie because, look, I've been a lifelong fan of science fiction, fantasy, and horror films. This is a delightful example of a fantasy film. And there's so much in it, the wuxia genre that I grew up with. There's a lot of that, it's a full-on straight-up Chinese fantasy movie, which I didn't expect. And yet it's also the story about two friends, that grew up together, which I also didn't expect. The relationship between Awkwafina and Shang-Chi, or Sean, as she knows him, is a wonderful relationship. And there's so many different aspects. Tony Leung, the great Tony Leung, one of my favorite actors working today, is a great, call him an antagonist. And then the women in this movie that are not, that I don't want to talk about because the movie will introduce you to them. One of them in the beginning of the film is just delightful. You can't not fall in love the same way that another character falls in love, because who wouldn't? And that was, I didn't know that was coming. That was the beginning of this movie. I think this movie, I mean, I'm not trying to oversell it, but it's why I love movies. And I think people are going to discover this on their own. And if you go in and you have a smile on your face and a smile in your heart, you're going to have a damn good time seeing Shang-Chi.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because I mean, I see some people in the chat trying to have a ridiculous conversation about whether, Spider-Man Far From Home will do better at the box office than this. Well, of course it is. Spider-Man is the most popular comic book character in the world. I mean, maybe other than Batman. He's had 7 standalone feature films. He's been in Homecoming or in Infinity War and Endgame and all that kind of stuff. To try to compare what a box office like that will do to a movie of a character that most people have never heard of, with no big name stars in it, no recognizable MCU characters, of course it's not going to. But I will tell you this is better than any of the Marvel Spider-Man movies. And I really like the Marvel Spider-Man movies. Like I really like Homecoming and I really like Far From Home. This is better than either of those movies. Now, whether it'll be better than Spider-Man No Way Home, who knows? John Watts has been working damn hard on this. He's closing out his trilogy. I'm sure he's going to bring us something really, really special. But I mean, obviously this movie will not make as much at the box office as, say, than a Black Widow will, which is a well-known, well-established MCU character. It won't make as much at the box office as Spider-Man No Way Home, a widely recognized, very established, multiple films in the MCU already character. Obviously not. It simply won't. But if Spider-Man No Way Home can even be 70% as good as Shang-Chi, it's going to destroy the box office. I mean, if Spider-Man No Way Home, with the popularity of the character and the pre-existing material, if it can even be 70% as good as Shang-Chi, it's going to absolutely blow up the box office. It's going to completely dominate the box office. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about the audience scores coming in for Shang-Chi? They are remarkable. There's no other way to put them. They're remarkable. Almost everybody's enjoying this film. You don't see that an awful lot. How do you think that's going to affect the financial returns on it? I don't think personally it's going to affect it an awful lot. I still think it's going to struggle at the box office. Maybe you guys don't agree. Whatever it is you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With all that down, let's now move over and start taking your live comments and questions, shall we? If you want to get a live comment or question read here on the show or in an upcoming companion video, simply go down into the description of this video and click on the tip link, or you could enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your comment or question read on the show if it's appropriate for the show. And of course, you'll be supporting the channel at the same time. And all of us involved here at the John Campea Show, thank you guys very, very much for your support. All right, let's move on here and start taking your questions, shall we? We're going to start things off here with Kurt, who writes, This year, Anya Taylor-Joy, Florence Pugh, and Zendaya have all turned 25. If you were a betting man, which actress do you think will have the most commercial success before 30, and which one would you have having the most critical success before 30? To me, this is an easy question. Right now, it is at any rate. The one who's going to have the most commercial success is the one who's already had the most commercial success and will go on to be, and that's Zendaya. I think there's just something infinitely marketable about Zendaya and the way she carries herself, and she's a terrific actress. So she's going to have the most commercial success. Anya Taylor-Joy will have the most critical success, I believe. She's already killing it. She's already absolutely killing it. And Florence Pugh is going to be doing very well for herself as well. But I think, guys, the most commercial success, Zendaya, the most critical success, Anya Taylor-Joy. Aaron, if you had to pick which one of those three will have the most commercial, which will have the most critical, how would you break it up?
I agree with you completely. Zendaya, definitely the most commercial. Anya Taylor-Joy, before the question specifically is about before the age of 30. So before the age of 30, it'll be Anya Taylor-Joy. I think long-term, Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh is going to have one of those Kate Winslet kind of careers.
That's an awesome comparison.
Yeah.
Rob, what about you? Which one has the most commercial? Which has the most critical by 30?
Well, I think Zendaya already has the most commercial, probably. So I would agree with that. I'm going to go with Aaron on this because Anya Taylor-Joy stunned me in The Queen's Gambit. I think
she stunned a lot of people.
She was amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've really enjoyed her. But Florence Pugh, man, she was my favorite thing about Black Widow. And her range is, I think, incredible. Going from something like Little Women to an MCU film, to a horror movie like Ari Aster's Midsummer. I'm a big fan of hers. So I think she will wind up probably being a Kate Winslet kind of an actress. I mean, by the way, let's give a shout out to Kate Winslet. I mean, her Mayor of Easttown performance is
good.
Flawless, fearless.
So good.
You know, I mean, she went out of her way. I've never seen an actress make themselves look schlumpier than she did in that movie, and long, lingering close-ups. She even had a sex scene that is, I think, wouldn't necessarily be flattering. I hope she wins all the awards. I love Kate Winslet. I've loved her since Heavenly Creatures. Damn. I know that wasn't part of the question, but my love for her is limitless.
By the way, it's I cannot wait to see Anya Taylor-Joy in Last Night in Soho. I think that.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Hey, how about as Furiosa?
Yeah. Well, actually, they're saying a story came out yesterday that George Miller was saying, because how long has Last Night in Soho been the can? Because George Miller said watching an early cut of Last Night in Soho is what made him cast Anya Taylor-Joy for the new Furiosa. So that's pretty interesting. And by the way, Alex's Movie Corner sends in a super chat badge and latch. I think I might have missed a couple that people sent in. My apologies, guys, if I did. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. Next one comes us from Greg, who writes, weekly Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. / John Campea appreciation tip. Greg has always got the back of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Thanks for writing that in, Greg. All right, next up, Johnny writes, one of two. Hey, John and crew. I was one of those who were hesitant for going back to the movies. It took two great movies and the fact that here in Israel, we require proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test to get me back. And I came back with a bang. A double feature of Free Guy followed by The Suicide Squad. That is an awesome double feature. When the 20th Century logo intro came up, I caught myself smiling from ear to ear. I miss going to the movies so much. Thanks for keeping the movie fire burning. Well, thanks a lot for sharing that, Johnny. And listen, you guys, right now, just in theaters right now, all these films I'm about to mention, like whether or not everybody loves them is irrelevant. All the films I'm about to mention are in theaters right now and have positive critic ratings and positive audience ratings. You're talking about Free Guy, now Shang-Chi, Suicide Squad, Respect, what was the other one?
Tango Shalom.
Tango Shalom. Don't forget Tango Shalom.
That's right.
I mean,
thanks for that one.
There are a number of films in theaters right now. And just the fact that we've got like a triple lineup of like Shang-Chi, Free Guy, Suicide Squad, all fantastic movies. I'm glad you were able to have that in the theaters waiting for you, Johnny. That's great. Thanks for sharing. M. Dorsher writes, Greetings from Denmark. So I just got tickets to Dune for the 14th of September, and I just cannot wait. But do you know why the premiere in the USA is set in October? Thanks. Yes, sometimes on some projects, studios will employ, if they believe in the film, studios will employ a technique where they'll release it internationally first a couple of weeks early to, at least hopefully to them, build up a big positive momentum of word of mouth so that when it opens in the North American audiences, it'll open up to a bang. I think that's the strategy they're employing with Dune. Whether that's true and whether that works, we'll have to see. Rob, do you got any sort of theory why they would be opening Dune, earlier in the international markets like that?
Because they're smarter than Americans. I no, I'm just kidding. I honestly, John, I don't know, but I think that in a way, maybe there is some truth to that in just reading the reviews that are coming out on Dune today, which are fascinating. I think maybe there might be more of an appreciation to this movie around the world than, say, here domestically. Because look, the Dune is a difficult property. This is not standard blockbuster fare. And from the reviews I've read, they talk about how mesmerizing, how unbelievably huge in scope it is, and how it is sort of contemplative, and it's not like a Marvel movie. And I think that by opening around the rest of the world, they're hoping to establish sort of a beachhead of success. So when it finally opens here, people might be more open to it. Of course, I could be full of doo-doo because I have I don't even know if I believe what I just said, but I really don't. I don't know why, but I think Dune now is a big gamble. It's called Dune Part 1, not on the poster, but in the film itself it is. And I think there's a lot riding on this. There's the Sisterhood TV series they want to follow this up with, and I think that they have a lot riding on Dune. They're expecting great things from it, and often movies do better in the rest of the world than they do domestically sometimes. I mean, and I think that might be part of it. They want to see this movie succeed, so they've opened it in the rest of the world first to see how it's going to do. Yeah,
but then the idiots at Warner Brothers decided to stab it in the back and have it come out on HBO on the same day it comes out.
Yeah, I know.
And Aaron, why do you think they're putting this movie out earlier, like weeks earlier in international markets?
I do like Rob's speculation that it's just because they're smarter than Americans. I mean, honestly, I think that you're right. It's to create some sort of, especially in the global economy and the global market that we live in now, where, someone sees it in a country around, on the other side of the world and is tweeting about it and TikToking about it and Instagramming about it and is creating this buzz. And then by the time it gets to American markets, which, as you informed me earlier, when we talk about opening weekend box office, we're talking about the domestic box office of the United States. It's nice to create a little bit of buzz, and it's nice to create a little bit of international fanfare, and especially because Dune is not a property that speaks specifically to the audience of one country. This is, there's so much fantasy and sci-fi involved in it that this could be a film that is relatable or is exciting to people regardless of their nationality. And so, and not specific to an American audience, whereas there are a lot of movies that are very specifically, about American culture. And this one certainly is not. So yeah, I think that getting that international buzz, I still really hope that someone out there at Warner Brothers can just make play, what is it? Fourth inning quarterback. What is the term, John?
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it's like a Hail Mary,
inning? A fourth inning quarterback.
I'm sorry. I was mixing my metaphors. I was mixing my metaphors. I mean, like someone throwing a Hail
quarterback. I got to tell Tom that one. I think Tom will get a kick out of it.
You're fucking lax. I fixed it. Okay. I said I messed up.
I love that.
I messed up my metaphors. I meant a Hail Mary, which I know that's an actual term.
That's a good one. That's applicable.
Thank you. But isn't there's like a, I don't know.
Are you thinking ninth inning stretch?
No,
Or
I think
seventh inning
I think
stretch?
I was thinking armchair quarterback.
Armchair quarterback. Okay,
Yeah, mixing up armchair, and I was like, no, that's not right. Yes. Anyway, I'm hoping that someone at Warner Brothers throws a Hail Mary and says, you know what? No, this has to go strictly to theaters. It is going to be devastating to Warner Brothers financially to release this on streaming the same weekend. It doesn't make any sense at all. And so if you are out there, if you're an assistant at Warner Brothers, you don't need credit for the idea. Give the idea to your boss and say, hey, man, I'm about to save you a lot of money. Nix the streaming.
All right. Next up, we go to Reptar King, who writes, hey, John, I was wondering if you started watching Heels. It's on episode 3 now, and as a casual wrestling fan, I think it's awesome. Also, as an early Arrow fan, I have to support Stephen Amell. I bought Stars for it, and I don't watch anything but Heels, so I have not started watching Heels yet, but first of all, to be honest, I don't think it looks... I don't think the previews have looked very good, but... I am absolutely going to try it because it's got Stephen Amell, and I always support anything Stephen Amell is in or anything Stephen Amell is doing. So I'm going to give it a shot, but I have not started watching it yet. But I'm hearing, listen, even though I don't think the previews look very good, I'm hearing good things about it. So I'll give it a shot here soon enough. All right, thanks for writing that in, man. All right, Ryan Lohner writes, the opening credits of the Suicide Squad used the same song that was in the closing credits of Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. This is confirmation that the Snyder Cut is being made canon. P.S. I am not a crackpot. Yeah, well, again, there it is. The Clever Blue is there. Blue Beetle's going to be in it. Thanks for throwing that in, Ryan. Next up, James L.H. writes, hey, John, I was unable to watch your CinemaCon reports live. I did watch every day, though. So I wanted to say I really enjoyed yours and Aaron's coverage. I thought it was very thorough, insightful, informative, and definitely entertaining. Thanks. Oh, thanks a lot for sending that in, James. And yeah, Aaron and I had a great time doing it. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to say who or where, but I have heard from reps from 2 different studios that actually wrote to me to say thank you for the coverage we did at CinemaCon and for their things, which was kind of interesting to see. Did not hear from Platt. Platt did not write in. That's okay. I think that's his name, right? Platt, the guy from Dear Evan Hansen. I'm not sure.
Ben Platt.
Yeah, Platt. There you go. Ben Platt. Yeah. So I don't know if they have internet.
Why would you hear from him? He hates you.
I know. Yeah, plus, he doesn't watch a show. At the nursing home, they don't let him have access to the internet long enough. So anyway.
No, I've been talking to him every day.
I'm sure you have.
He's like, I really appreciate you starting the, Ben Platt for Oscar campaign because he's going to be nominated for one and you're going to eat shit. Or as Rob
I have not said that he's going to do bad. I think he's going to do very well. He's been
writing to me asking why I haven't weighed in on this controversy.
Yeah. Why haven't you, Rob? Have you seen the trailer for Dear Evan Hansen?
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why it's about this 50-year-old middle-aged dude.
Oh my God. No, Rob, come on.
The people have spoken. The people have spoken. The 4th inning quarterback has come in and delivered the defining blow. It's done. Old man Platt in Dear Evan Hansen.
You both suck. You both suck.fart. That's going to be I'm going to start a website called youbothsuck.fart. And that's going to be you.
I want to see that. By the way, Quizentine Watts in the live chat says, imagine if Ben Platt won the Oscar and he says from the Oscar stage, fuck John Campea. That would be the best.
Oh my God. I will literally, oh God.
That would be the best moment of my career. That would be the ultimate best moment of my career if that were to happen. I would love that.
But here's the thing. It would be so shitty for me, though, because I'd be like, Ben, why are you mentioning John? I'm the one that had your back.
It's the squeaky wheel,
It is
Aaron.
the John Campea show, I guess.
It's the squeaky wheel that gets all the attention. All right, let's move on here. James L.H. writes, John, so just before the con, you mentioned watching something I was late to when I watched earlier this year, Yellowstone. God, I love Yellowstone. I quickly became a fan. Liked your Godfather/Cowboys analogy. Costner is so good. Did you finish the series? Any more thoughts? Yes, guy. I don't know if you guys have been watching it. I needed a new series to start watching. A bunch of people suggested Yellowstone, so I started watching it. In 2 weeks, I got through all 3 seasons. Just in time because they're starting season 4 here pretty soon. Oh my God, this show is great. It's so good. It is The Godfather with cowboys. It's just fantastic. And I was saying on, I think it was a companion video the other day, there are two models of the ultimate man, of like two individuals that represent the absolute pinnacle of what it is to be a man. One is Fred Rogers, and I don't say that sarcastically. Fred Rogers is the fucking GOAT, okay? He is the representation of what it means to be a real man. And the other is Rip from Yellowstone. Oh, they're two totally polar opposites, but oh my God, if you took Fred Rogers and Rip and mashed them together, like that's what every guy should aspire to be like as a man, I think, at any rate. Rob, have you watched Yellowstone? I can't remember if you've watched it or not.
I have. I haven't watched all of it, but it's great.
Oh God, it's so good. I'm so surprised by it. Because it was just this little thing on like the Paramount Network or something. It's on, the first 3 seasons are all on Peacock right now. You can watch them all on Peacock. But and then the season 3 finale. Oh my God. It's so damn good. And Kevin Costner. I've always loved Kevin Costner. I think he's the boss. He's great. All right. Next up, we go. James L.H. writes, also, I am really curious about this prequel that was announced, Yellowstone 1883. What sold me was hearing the great Sam Elliott was going to be starring in it. Not sure about the co-stars, but whenever there is a Western series or a film with Sam Elliott, I'm there. I'll tell you what, James L.H., I don't know anything about this prequel series at all, but it doesn't have to be a Western. You put Sam Elliott in anything, I will be there. I will absolutely be there. Did you guys see the Simpsons episode? Wait, no. It wasn't The Simpsons. It was Family Guy. I think it was Family Guy, where Lois was running for mayor because Adam West passed away. So Lois was going to run for mayor. Peter didn't want her to be mayor, so he went out and got Sam Elliott to run for mayor instead. It was freaking hilarious. I absolutely loved it. You saw that one,
Sam
Aaron?
Elliott. Yeah, I've seen that. Tom and I have seen every episode of Family Guy probably 7 times. I could practically quote all of them. Sam Elliott is my dream guy. He is like, Tom and I don't have hall passes in our marriage because like you can't do that because like I was like, no, Gina Gershon cannot be your hall pass because you might actually do a movie with Gina Gershon. And then I'm like, okay, my husband's doing a movie. I guess my husband's gonna fuck Gina Gershon. I mean, not saying that Gina Gershon would want to, but just saying we don't do that. However,
what's the point of a hall pass if it's not a possibility? That's the point of a hall pass. It has to be like remotely possible. I don't like your rules.
No, a hall pass is like, it would never happen. So we're going to put that, we're going to have that as a possibility. Like, Rob, do you guys have hall passes?
Are you asking me or Rob?
Rob.
Do I have a hall? No, I don't think Elizabeth would take kindly if I had a hall pass. We've never kind of had that conversation.
So Sam Elliott would be my hall pass, but Tom has said that if I left him for anybody, John Cena is the one that he would be okay if I left him for. He's the one guy that like, if you left me for John Cena, I'd be like, okay, I get it. However, Sam Elliott is sort of like my dream guy. Everything about him.
Speaking of John Cena-ish, have you watched that new movie of his on Hulu?
Oh my gosh, I keep seeing the ads for it because I've been watching 9 Perfect Strangers, so the ad comes up nonstop. But I've been between 9 Perfect Strangers and I stayed up till 3 a.m. last night finishing the first season of Perry Mason. I've been aggressively binging that. I had an audition for the 2nd season, and so I was like, let me watch an episode, and then I just got sucked in. But no, I'm really excited about it because I love when my John Cena is funny. He's such a funny guy. I just love him.
They just greenlit a sequel for Vacation Friends.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's not very
Honeymoon
good.
Friends.
What do you mean it's not? It's not very good. It's not. Wait, very
Vacation
good.
Friends isn't very good?
Vacation Friends isn't very good. It has its moments.
It must be something because it's got a sequel.
It's cheap. It was really inexpensive to make. I think that's pretty much it.
It looks like a lot of fun.
It does look like a lot of fun. It's not, but I mean, but It's okay. Look, I'm painting a picture as if it sucks, and it doesn't suck. Like, don't get me wrong. It doesn't suck. There are definitely moments. There are definitely some big laugh out loud moments. There really are. I mean, overall, it's just pretty weak, but it has its moments. I don't think it sucks.
Well, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. It was a movie that was made for Hulu. So your expectation has to, you got to drop your expectation a little bit and go, is this something that's fun that I can pause, get up, get some popcorn, go to the bathroom, check my, grinder or whatever.
What? Okay.
Whatever app you're on.
Where are we going there? Whatever app you're on. Okay. Let's keep going here. Sorry, we're falling behind. My bad. I get a sidetrack. Mr. Cliff writes, now hold on a minute there, Campea. I'm a bit flummoxed by your insistence on using my Canadian cousin's name instead of mine for our notes. In a good old USA, Cliff makes the shortcut versions of things. Those notes are mine around here, Cliff notes. Yeah, so in Canada, I don't know if you guys knew this, and Erin has disappeared. I don't know if you guys knew this. There she's back.
No, sorry, I just had to do something. Cats.
In Canada, we have something called Coles notes. I understand here in the US you have them. They're called Cliff Notes.
Yeah, Cliff Notes.
Yeah, that's not what we have in Canada. In Canada, we have Coles Notes.
Like Cole?
Yes.
Like Cole Hauser's notes? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so it's Coles Notes. So we say it the proper way. I mean, I don't know. I've never read a Coles or a Cliff's Notes book. It's funny that there are two similar things in both countries, though. Okay, next up, Big Will writes, hey, John, I had this debate about Don Cheadle in the MCU. I said War Machine was the most underused character in the MCU. Don Cheadle is an actor that can do it all. The story is what's most important to any movie. I can't wait to see him in Armor Wars. Your thoughts? Well, I mean, no, I disagree with you, Bill. Like, first of all, let's be clear. I love Don Cheadle. If you haven't seen his series that not a lot of people gave it a lot of attention, but called House of Lies, he had this series called House of Lies that he did with, who was Sarah Marshall again? Who was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall? What's her name? She's married to Dax Shepard.
Kristen Bell.
Yeah,
Kristen Bell. So it's got Don Cheadle, Kristen Bell, John Rafio from Parks and Rec. It's a fantastic show, and Don Cheadle rules in it. If you've never seen Hotel Rwanda, if you want to see how good Don Cheadle is as an actor, go see Hotel Rwanda. He's great, but like you said, you don't give more to the character because you like the actor. I mean, the actor's there to serve the character, not the other way around. That all being said, so I don't think he's been underused in the MCU. I think they've used him exactly the right way, at the exact right times. That being said, I am very excited for Armor Wars, especially, guys, with the post-credit, the end scene we got out of Falcon and the Winter Soldier with Agent Carter talking about now she's going to be able to get access to all this weaponry. And we know that the synopsis for Armor Wars is what happens when the wrong people get their hands on all this weaponry. And so I am very excited for that. Rob, where's your anticipation level for that right now?
Well, first of all, I love Don Cheadle. He has my favorite line in the entire MCU. We're all about that superhero life.
Yeah. Hey, new girl. Hey, new girl. We're all about that superhero life.
I love that line. I don't know. And he's saying this to Captain Marvel. I love that. Devil in a Blue Dress was another film that he was in. That's an adaptation of the Easy Rollins books. I love Don Cheadle. I've always loved Don Cheadle, and giving him a starring role in Armor Wars, I mean, bring it on. What's not to love about that?
What about in your household there, Aaron? I know, Tom is big into the MCU stuff. You guys have been watching all the MCU stuff that's been playing on Disney Plus as well. Have you guys been looking forward to Don Cheadle in Armor Wars?
I mean, Don Cheadle, as Rob said, it's kind of hard not to love him because he is such an incredibly versatile actor. And his mastery of dialects is mind-blowing. Not that this would apply necessarily to Armor Wars, but just as my admiration for an actor goes, I just think that he's absolutely wonderful, and I'm thrilled that they're giving him material that he can really stand out and shine in the MCU.
And
because he is. I agree with you about not wanting to use an actor just because of the sake of the actor, but when you have talent like Don Cheadle, you gotta find a place to put it.
Talk about his dialect, his character of Basher in the Oceans movies.
Yes, that's what.
The Cockney British.
Oh, he's so good. I mean, and you know what? Here's the thing. This is such a minor little thing. There's a point where he's going to put the cones on the street in Ocean's 11, and he's going, and he just sort of goes to, you know, it's so natural, the fact that he like steps on the street, sees a car coming, steps back, and you just go, oh, that's just so. It's so natural that he really looks like he went to go step out on the street and then saw a car coming, versus an actor that's like, okay, you're going to go from point A to point B and put the cone down. He just breathes so much additional juiciness and crunchiness into every piece that he does. He doesn't just do the thing. He does all sorts of things within the doing of the thing. It's magical.
Boogie Nights.
Anton Riley sends in a super chat badge live chat. Thank you, Anton. Hey, guys, don't forget, War Machine isn't even his best superhero character. Captain Planet. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, you ever see that, Aaron? Him as Captain. Oh, you're going to have to go and look it up. Go look up Don Cheadle as Captain Planet. It is his ultimate superhero performance. You'll just go and look it up on YouTube when you have a chance, Aaron, and then thank me later that you did. All right. We only got a couple minutes left here, so let's keep rolling here. Andy from Canada writes, hey, John, Rob, Aaron, I'm excited to go see Shang-Chi this weekend. I want to take my daughter, whom I've been binging all the MCU films with. My question, she has yet to complete Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Loki. Are either series a must-watch prior to watching Shang-Chi? All right, Andy, thanks for writing that in. It's a good question, but here's the answer. For almost everything in the MCU, nothing is a prerequisite, honestly. Other than maybe Infinity War is a prerequisite to watching Endgame, but I even had a friend of mine watch Endgame, and it was like the first MCU film they ever saw, and they didn't feel lost. So,
wow, that's great.
But I mean, so I would say if there is any prerequisite in all the MCU, it's watching Infinity War before Endgame. But after that, nothing is a prerequisite. That is why Kevin Feige. That's how Kevin Feige has made the MCU the biggest thing in the world of movies, by making it so any new audience member can jump on at any time. Because when everything becomes prerequisite that you need to see this in order to watch this and you need to see that, then a new audience member can look at the MCU and go, fuck this. It's got 25 movies, 4 series, blah, blah. I'm supposed to watch all that to get caught up just so I can go watch Eternals? You don't. That's the genius of Kevin Feige. He has made it so anybody can jump on board at any time. Getting specific about Shang-Chi versus like Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, absolutely not. There is nothing in WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier, Loki, nothing at all has any bearings on Shang-Chi. So you can feel very confident going in to watch Shang-Chi as it is. All right. Philip Carbon writes, hey, John and crew. So can you explain why Voodoo is called Voodoo Fandango? Did Fandango buy Voodoo, guys? Because Voodoo used to be owned by Walmart, right? Wasn't Voodoo a Walmart property? I can't remember. I didn't know it was called Voodoo Fandango now. So I don't know if there's a partnership or if Fandango bought it away from Walmart. Do any of you guys in the live chat have any information on that? I don't have any information on that, to be honest with you.
You know what? I'm looking at something online here. It says Fandango now has moved to Vudu, expanded catalog for movies and TV shows.
Also, so maybe it went the other way. So, okay.
Yeah, their logo is Voodoo Fandango, so they're
Wild
now
Phantom 1 in the live chat is saying Fandango now owns them according to Wikipedia. So they combined them. Okay, so I guess there's the answer to that. Thanks for asking, Philip. I didn't know about that. Now I know something new. All right, next up we got Philip Carbon, who also writes, hey, John and crew, I can't wait until September 7th. That is when Fast 9 will finally be able to purchase on digital. So I decided to have a triple marathon. Fast 9, Nick and Noah's Infinite Playlist. That seems rather random. My Guilty Pleasure and Black Widow. Well, I like Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. I'm not a big fan of, why am I forgetting the actor's name who was starred in Scott Pilgrim versus the World? What's his name again?
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera, thank you. I'm not a big Michael Cera fan, to be honest with you, but I still got a kick out of Nick and Norris Infinite playlist. Listen, you're celebrating with the wrong guy though, Philip. I hated Fast 9, and I'm a big Fast and the Furious fan. I hated Fast 9, and Black Widow's good. Black Widow's okay. I wasn't a big fan of it, but hey, you watch whatever's going to bring you joy, my friend. You watch whatever's going to bring you joy. All right, Power is Power writes, holy shit, episode 4 of What If was awesome. I'm convinced that sorcerers have no bedside manners or have a few fucks to spare. I think Ancient One has watched too many episodes of CSI Miami. A bit of car trouble. I was like, oh shit, too savage and too soon. Yeah, we're not going to go into all the spoils of that, but have you guys have a chance to see that the Doctor Strange episode of What If yet?
I have not watched it yet.
Oh, neither of you have watched it yet. It's quite good. I don't like everybody thinks it's the best one yet. I still prefer episode 3. The big murder mystery one about who's killing all the Avengers. I personally thought that one was a little bit better, but episode 4 is great. The Doctor Strange one is great. So guys, get on that. I think you guys are going to enjoy that one. All right. We'll do 2 more questions here today, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. This one comes to us from Anonymous, who writes, new Roland Emmerich film, Moonfall. I'm a sucker for disaster films, and it looks glorious. Well, Aaron and I saw like 10 minutes of Moonfall.
You did?
Yeah, they showed us. Yeah, remember they showed us that big scene where Aaron.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're lying. She's completely lying. So anyway,
no, I have no idea what you're talking about. What is Moonfall?
The one with Catwoman.
Halle Berry.
With the one with Halle Berry, where they're in the space station. What? And then something's happening with the moon.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I forgot that was called Moonfall. Yeah, that looked really cool.
I can't wait.
They showed us like a 10 minutes of it, and then they showed us some rapid footage, and then they showed us the trailer to it. I mean, I don't know. It is a Roland Emmerich film. So I'm not... You know what was really funny, though? This is the part that was really funny. Is that... I think it was Lionsgate, right? It was part of the Lionsgate presentation. And their executive vice president's out on stage, and he's talking about all these faith-based films they have coming out, right? And like the one about Kurt Warner, which by the way actually looks pretty good. The one about Kurt Warner looks
cute. It was Zach Levi.
Yep. And then
Anna Paquin.
Yeah, out of nowhere, and a wild Anna Paquin sighting comes up, and then another faith-based film also starring Zach Levi about like a little kid with a health condition, and then another faith-based film about like Christian rock music and stuff like that. And then once his presentation about this big faith-based things that there's a real underserved demographic, and he's right. I mean, there's a demographic there that these types of projects make money. So then he's talking about all these faith-based films, and then he goes right in to talk about Moonfall. And he's going right from talking about faith-based film to no one knows how to blow shit up like Roland Emmerich. And it's like, it just seemed a little out of left field.
It was like there was someone who wrote the patter for the faith-based, and then someone who wrote the patter for the Moonfall. For Moonfall. But then there wasn't anyone who worked on that transition.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough transition. But you know what they gave us at CinemaCon, Rob? For the Kurt Warner movie, they gave us autographed footballs, like Kurt Warner autographed footballs, which is pretty good. So I kind of like that. And by the way, Hunky Lips Throg sends in a super chat badge in the live chat. Thank you. Oh, she's got it right there. And that's right. The movie's called American Underdog. And they had them autographed for us. So that was a pretty cool little piece of swag that they gave us. So the movie's called American Underdog.
It's a good football. It's a good football.
It is.
And I know that because I am actually, despite my 4th inning quarterback comment, and yes, I do realize the fucketry of that comment. I am actually a football fan, so.
Okay.
I just can't wait to see how American sports could be changed by that new 4th inning.
The 4th inning quarterback.
I was missing. Never mind. Never mind.
Last question of the day, guys, comes to us from Korea Got Soul. Get it? I like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey, John, what's up? I know you know a lot about Star Wars. I also know you live and breathe Star Wars as well. So I have a specific question for you. Do you know if there are any Star Wars gods? Thanks, and keep up the awesome work. Well, I mean, if you're talking about in universe, like in the continuity of Star Wars, I mean, very rarely are gods mentioned. Like in Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, get taken to Jar Jar's people, right? The gun. I keep on wanting to say the Gundams. The Gundams are a completely different thing. The Gungans, Liam Neeson makes reference, your gods demand that blah, blah, blah. So it's very, very rare. And then you get into like the wills. It all depends on how you interpret like the Book of the Wills and all that kind of stuff. And what is the nature of the Force. But I think they just handle it as there's not one big cosmic thing. Every little culture have its own little sets of gods, at least to the best of my knowledge. Rob, can you think of a different example of that?
No, I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, that works.
It was good. It worked for me. I mean, I'm still thinking about fourth inning quarterbacking.
Let it go.
We will let it go.
I was having a woman moment.
Oh, great.
You got to forgive Aaron, guys.
Canceled.
The whole body chemistry is out of whack right now. So it's just
you know what?
Hey, I've thrown out first pitches at 2 Major League Baseball games. I had my 30th birthday party at Dodgers Stadium.
See, now I know you're lying. Now I know you're lying because you ain't 30 yet. So now I know that you're lying. Anyway.
You're right.
See, when you get to the edge, when you get right to the edge of being on Aaron's bad side, you got to follow that up by getting back into the good graces, or else you risk yourself.
Praise and money work every time. Praise and money. That's all it takes.
All right, guys, listen, that'll do it. That's all the time we've got here for today. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here today and being a part of this show. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead of yourselves and go see Shang-Chi. And by the way, a lot of people have been asking me, when is the Shang-Chi open spoiler discussion? The Shang-Chi open spoiler discussion is this Sunday at 4 p.m. I know a lot of people like to do their spoiler discussions the moment a movie comes out. I like to actually give you guys a little bit of time to go and see the movie. So you got yesterday, you got today, you got tomorrow, and then Sunday at 4 p.m. Los Angeles time is when we will do our Shang-Chi open spoiler discussion. I hope to see you guys there. In the meantime, big thank you to the one and the only, also has a movie opening up right now called Tango Shalom, the one and the only Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people go specifically to see Tango Shalom right now?
Tango Shalom is playing in Los Angeles and New York. At New York, it's at the AMC Empire 25 on 42nd Street, or it's at the Village East by Angelica. And in Los Angeles, it is at the Lemley's Town Center in Encino, which is the art house theater there, which is a great theater, by the way. And it's at the Landmark at the West Side Pavilion, which is also a big art house theater.
Go check that. And where can people follow you, Rob?
You can follow me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett. You can follow me on Twitter at BurnettRM, or follow me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Work.
And of course, we're also joined today by, you can catch her in the upcoming Will Smith film, King Richard. It's Aaron Cummings. Aaron, where can people follow you and Joey Bishop online?
Oh, you can come and see all of our pictures and our adventures on Instagram at Aaron L. Cummings. And for those of you who have messaged and asked, the baby registry for baby Degnan is at babylist.com. Just look up my name and all that fun stuff will be there. And but thank you so much for having us back again this week.
By the way, just on top of King Richard, have all your episodes of Good Girls now aired?
Yes, they have.
All the Good Girl episodes have aired.
And actually, I a movie that I did that I shot up in Seattle, which was a wonderful experience, called Language Arts, which is actually about a boy. I play the mother of a boy who has autism, and it's a period piece in the 1960s. Language Arts is available this weekend on iTunes for purchase. So please, anyone who wants to go support the movie Language Arts, we would greatly appreciate your support.
And that also has Dan from Lucifer in the movie.
Yes, absolutely. It does. Kevin Alejandro. It also has Sarah Shahai. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the lead actress.
This is the movie I went to go watch with you like a year and a half ago.
Yes.
Almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah, exactly.
The pandemic really kept this thing on the shelf for a while. But yeah, guys, it's a wonderful movie. Go check it out when you have a chance. And of course, guys, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all the social media, simply at John Campea, which you can see right down there. Okay, guys, there will be a couple companion videos this weekend. We were going to do some yesterday and the day before, and just schedule got way out of hand, so we weren't able to do that. But we do have some companion videos coming this weekend. Keep your guys' eyes open for it. And of course, don't forget to join us Sunday for the Shang-Chi open spoiler discussion. But for now, guys, that'll do it for this installment of the John Campea Show. Remember to do the four main things: stay smart, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and please take care of the people around you. That'll do it for me for now, guys. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.